Hey guys, Serendipity Simmer here, and today we're doing another speed build. I know, it's been a long time. I'm very excited. I've been doing a lot of criticisms recently because I have gotten a lot of new custom content. I love creating Sims because I think I'm horrible at building houses. I build the same house every single time. Oh, I had an issue. But I'm going to be telling a bit of a story today. And it's going to be about a girl I once knew. I don't know what to call her. Mean girl name. Not Susan, that's little Simsy. What's like a really mean girl name? Nicole. We're gonna go with Nicole, I think. I'm sorry. Bleh. I am so sorry. I cannot speak today. One of my friends, her middle name is Nicole. If she's watching this, apologies. But we're gonna call her Nicole. This happened a few years ago. I met this female in third grade. She came to my school in the middle of third grade, my elementary school. And that year, we weren't really, like, the closest of friends. We became good friends more towards the end of the year. And during that time, I found out that she lives really close to my grandma's house. And at that time, I spent most of my time at my grandma's house because she would help me with my homework. She's very smart. She was a scientist. So was my grandpa. They were partners. And anyways, so we started hanging out over the summer. You know, everything was great. She was wonderful. At the time, I thought she was wonderful. Now I realize she was a horrible person. But we're gonna ignore that. So I thought she was like the best person. We were best friends. Fourth grade comes along, and she starts being a horrible person, but I didn't really realize that. She was very clingy. She didn't like me hanging out with my other friends, and if I wanted to hang out with my other friends, we'd get in huge fights, and she'd start spreading rumors about me. And we would always make up. We'd go back, and this process probably happened like 5 or 6 times during 5th grade year, or 4th grade. Oh, my dog is making noises over there. I don't know. I don't like noises. I'm sorry. Ooh, okay. Stop making noises, Panda. My dog's name is Panda. Thank you. I don't know if you could hear that, but like wood was creaking and such. Anyways, back to the story. Where was I? Oh yeah, so this happened like a few times during the year, and by like the summertime, a little before summer, we were pretty good. And during that summer, I realized something. So we were hanging out at her house, and we were doing things, and we were about to go outside, and she was like pushing me out the door. She's like, let's go outside. And I brought shoes that weren't the easiest to put on. And so I was trying to put on my shoes, and she grabs my arm, pulls me outside, and my shoes aren't on completely. And before we went outside, she was having me hold her iPod. Like, she had it was like one of the ones that were like a phone, but like they didn't call or anything. She was having me hold it while I was trying to get on my shoes, and I walked outside, and I didn't have my shoes on. She had like really steep steps. They were super uphill, probably 6 or 7 of them, and I fall down them. I like somersault down them, and I have this giant like bloody like gash in my knee. And she freaks out, not because I'm bleeding, but because there is a tiny little scratch near the home button on her iPod. And I'm bleeding out here. I'm trying not to cry. and she's just sobbing. She hates me at this point. And I'm sitting there because I rode my bike there because she lived really close to my grandma's house. My bike was there, and I rode it there. And I'm like, do you have a Band-Aid so I can ride home and, like, put some Neosporin on this? And she's like, no, we don't have Band-Aids. And, which is just, like, the biggest lie. There were 3 children living in our house. How do they not have Band-Aids? And so she's freaking out. Of course, I'm very apologetic. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't really know what to do. And she yells at me. Like, she's just like, you're the worst, go away. So I have this bloody gash running, like, blood's running down my leg as I'm walking towards my bike to get on. I ride my bike back to my grandma's house. Well, it was only like 3 or 4 blocks, but still, that really hurt. My grandma's like, what happened? And I told her what happened, and of course, she's more worried about my knee than this tiny scratch on her like iPod. And my grandma calls my dad, tell her what happened, and of course he's freaking out too. And then he's like, what about the girl's iPod? And we go back, and I like make sure everything's okay. Of course, I feel terrible because I feel like I did something wrong. I mean, and the story is like, and the story makes me angry. So we drive back to her house, make sure like her iPod's okay and everything, because of course I would be willing to pay for it if I did break it more than I thought I did. And her dad opens the door, and he's like, oh no, everything's fine, it's just a little scratch, you don't need to do anything. Like, her iPad was already like pretty scratched up, like there were a couple scratches like on her iPod because she'd had it for a little while, and we were in like 4th grade and dropping and we're clumsy, and so everything was fine. But she still hates me. We never spoke again after this. You know what? This might have been 5th grade. I think this was 5th grade because we went to separate middle schools. I went to a Catholic middle school, even though I'm not Catholic, and she went to a public middle school. And so we haven't seen each other since. Except I went to a performing arts camp in the summertime. It was performing arts and like art like drawing and painting and stuff. And this girl was always like a really good artist. And so I go there, and it was a 10-day camp, and on one of the last days they had a like carnival thing. It wasn't a carnival really. It was just more like everyone can wear normal clothes and hang out. Hang on. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. Oof. Okay. Where was I? Sorry. There's noises. I don't think anyone's home. Because I have a weird fear of recording when people are home. So. Anyways. We're going to get back to the story. Okay, so we were at summer camp, and they had this weird carnival thing. And I hadn't seen her beforehand. I'd seen most everyone at camp. There's a lot of people at camp. And I see her there. Like, at this carnival thing. And I didn't recognize her at first. But I'm like, she looks familiar. Because we were kind of hanging around, like, the same area. I don't think she saw me. But I definitely saw her. At least, if she saw me, then she didn't, like, make a big deal out of it. Which would be completely weird for her. And now I'm like freaking out. I'm like, she's here? Of course she's here. She ruins everything for me because I was having a fun time at camp. This is one of those like crazy summer camps. It was a very strict art summer camp, like uniforms, certain shoes, a certain hair, like very strict. Like, this is just, like, the one day of the year where we were allowed to wear, like, normal clothing. And so, of course, I start freaking out. And I'm like, oh, my God, she's here at my summer camp. And like, I wasn't sure if it was her, but looked like her. I'm still not sure, completely sure it was her, but like, I'm almost 100% sure it was her. And I was like freaking out. I was like telling my friends, like, there's this girl that I know, and she was horrible to me. And ooh, I can't, like, I don't think I explained all the ways she was horrible to me completely. I'll save those for another time. But like, we're all freaking out. Like, we're like, do we go talk to her? What are we gonna do? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And we finally, she's out of our sight. She went somewhere else, and I'm like starting to calm down. But then I realized she's been here with me the entire time. She must have saw me. If I didn't see her, doesn't matter. She must have seen me somewhere, because I'd pretty much been everywhere at the camp at this point. Like, she wasn't in like around like our cabins anywhere, because there were different sections of cabins, and she wasn't in my section. But still, just yikes. That's the last time I saw her. No, it wasn't. Okay, so around where I live, they have these youth dances at like a big like grand hall place around us, and like, they have one every month. Like, the most upcoming one's like an 8th grade graduation thing, and I get to go because I'm in 8th grade. But anyways, like, I went to one like at the beginning of the year, and she was there, and I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god, she's here. What do I do? Like, all my friends, even though they like never met her, and they didn't go to my elementary school, because I have new friends because I went to a different middle school, like, I told them all what like she did to me, and they were freaking out. They're like, we're gonna go confront her and be like, yo, you, Nicole, you were horrible to my friend, we're gonna beat you up. And I'm like, no, please don't. Please do not. And they were like trying to convince me, like, yeah, we're gonna go beat her up. Like, I'm like, no, please don't do that. Finally, they calmed down, but she saw me. We saw each other, and this is the most awkward part. So, like, we had seen each other, and we had like given each other like glances, like we looked at each other with like, ew. And they have like water outside of the like dance area, because there's like 400 kids in this like 20 by 20 room, and like no one can fit in here. Like, everyone's like trying to dance, they're bumping into each other, and I go out to get some water, and I bump into her and her friends. Like, she's friends with some of my friends. Like, she knows some people I know from old school and from my old school and like other places, because I live in a very small town, and like everyone goes to like the same public middle school pretty much in certain areas. And I bumped into her, and we didn't really say anything. I just bumped into her. I was like, oh, sorry, and I run away. I didn't even go get water, because I was on my way to get water. I didn't even go get water. I almost passed out. I just didn't want to run into her again. And I'm just like, oh no, what do I do? Because like, I went to my friends, and I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? And they're like, Amanda, you're fine. You're okay. They're like, do you want us to go beat her up? And I'm just like, no, don't do that. By the way, they weren't actually going to go beat her up. They're just going to like, I don't know what they were going to do. They're going to like verbally fight. They weren't gonna go like punch her or anything. My friends are too small and weak and lovely to do that. I'm kidding. They are very lovely, and they would not do that. They have better manners than that. And so we lived out the rest of the night, and we get to like the end, and like parents are coming to pick us up, and everyone's standing outside taking selfies, like, oh my god, great youth dance, that was great. And like, our parents were parked, like, our parents walked up in similar spots, or like, she went with a friend, I think, and they were picked up similar spots, and my dad, who came to pick me up, he sees her, and he's like, she was here? And I'm like, yeah, she was at summer camp too. And he's like, no. I'm like, yeah, because I didn't tell them at this point. I had forgotten about that until I saw her. And I'm just like, yeah, she was there with me in this, like the camp was pretty big, but it was small enough to where we would have seen each other. So she definitely saw me. And it was just like, why? Yikes. Okay, so I think I'm gonna end this here. I hope you guys have the what am I saying? I hope you guys have the best day, no matter who or wherever you are. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.